Post the article, the relevant article in chat, and then they can all be like, "It's not spam." There you go. Read that. Read it.
Read it.
Hey, listeners out there, can I do a self pitch?
Yeah.
I need a job.
Wait, what?
That was not the pitch I was
Wait a
expecting.
minute, what happened to the stuff I just gave you for your show?
No, yeah, that's that.
That's a job. And this is a job.
That's a part-time job. I want a full-time job.
Like
Wait, can you
In San Francisco, and I don't want to do anything video related anymore.
Oh, okay. Do you know how to wait tables? No, I'm
You're
serious.
a horrible man, Roger Chang.
Nope, I don't want to work waiting tables.
Retail?
Nope, I don't want to work retail.
security.
How about a tour bus? Like doing like the narration.
I hear many
Like,
drivers make bank.
It's
Maybe.
because you make bank in tips, right?
Yeah.
If you're very
Not as a
Anyway,
Very
I'm looking for a job in product management. So if anyone has anything where you can get a job in product management and don't need to have a CS degree, email me.
Veronica's at that point in her life where she's having full-time job angst.
I'm pivoting
Yeah.
into a person with a real career.
See,
I know
I did
two
that
people
all
who got
the
into
way
product
until 3 years ago.
See, that's why I went to graduate school.
I thought about it. I thought about getting my
Not too late.
master's in business, get an MBA.
Masters
Master
of
of
Business.
Business.
Get you a job.
You know, if anything else, you could at least teach with the masters.
Yeah.
I mean, you might teach. I mean, you can ask Annie. Annie did that for a little bit. She taught at State.
Really?
You teach part time. You don't make the real money though.
Listen, you're not going to make real money unless you're tenured and you have.
that
Yeah,
reminds me.
tenured. That's
Dave
it's good.
Brodbeck, professor at Algoma University. Is that
Associate professor?
associate? I casually call you a professor in our show description. I assume that's
Yeah, that's
okay
fine.
because
Oh, that's fine. I mean,
I'm not-
most people don't
I'm not
understand
saying-
academic
yeah.
ranks. Yeah.
That's more of using it as a generic
Yeah, that's fine.
description. But I've got your actual title down.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get going, shall we?
Oh, time to disappear.
This episode of the Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by me. If you'd like to bring the next episode to yourself, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support to be part of the show. Let's do this, Tom.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, March 21st, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Ms. Veronica Belmont, host of Dear Veronica on a Gadget and Sword and Laser on the Frog Pants Network. How are you, ma'am?
I am fantastic. Lovely rainy day here in San Francisco. Off to a good start this week.
But you look tanned and rested.
Oh, do I? Thank you. Yes, I was in Palm Springs this weekend.
Palm Springs is just for fun. Did
It's
you
just
find
for
that to be
fun.
true?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Can't get any real work done there, that's for sure.
Obviously, we're going to be talking about Apple's press conference and a little bit about what they announced there. But we're also going to be talking about a Medium post that Veronica found trying to use science to explain why it is some of us enjoy watching other people play video games. And to help us understand that, Associate Professor at Algoma University, Dave Brodbeck, or Dave the Psychologist, is joining us. Thank you for joining us, Dave.
This is pretty exciting for me. This is sort of full circle from being on the first BOL listener call-in show. So thanks for having me.
I forgot that you were on the very first of that, and you may recognize Dave the Psychologist if you have followed our shows throughout the year, as he has emailed us many times. Also a podcaster in his own right.
Yes, indeed.
I'm
sitting in my podcast studio, which used to be my daughter's bedroom.
Where's your daughter sleep now?
No, in a different city. She's in graduate school studying behavioral neuroscience.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I know podcasters who would kick their daughter out just to have a studio. So.
Oh, believe me, I thought of that already. Yeah.
All right, we'll get to those discussions in just a moment. Let's start off with the headlines. Apple held a press conference Monday this morning announcing new products and updates. CareKit is a new framework for medical apps. It can be used by institutions to help individualize treatment, track drug effectiveness, or your exercise regimen. First app coming out of CareKit will be for Parkinson's disease. CareKit is open source and will be available in April. The Apple Watch gets a new woven nylon band, a few new colors for the sport and leather bands, and a space black Milanese loop. Hardware stays the same, but the price drops to $299.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about the pink woven nylon band. Hot pink. It's
You were
kinda
talking
cool.
hot pink in all caps in our Slack. I'll give you
Yes,
that.
I was. Yes, I was. Apple TV's operating system gets an update today, adding folder, dictation for things like username and passwords, live photos, and iCloud Library, and Siri for the App Store. iOS 9.3 is coming today with Night Shift to remove blue from your display, the ability to password protect notes, and more. So I guess now we know why Flux went the way of the dodo for iOS.
We love the Flux.
Hmm.
And Apple's product line got some updates. The new iPhone SE is a 4-inch iPhone with a 64-bit A9 processor and the M9 Motion coprocessor, 12-megapixel camera, generally most of the features, except 3D Touch, of the 6S, but in a body that looks similar to the iPhone 5S. A 16-gigabyte version will sell for $399 and a 64-gigabyte version for $499.
Seems to be no 3D touch on that.
That's right. No
taptic
mention of it.
feedback.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange. A new 9.7-inch iPad Pro was announced with the A9X processor and something called True Tone Display, which measures the color temperature to the ambient light and adjusts the screen to match. A smart keyboard will be available at the new size. Apple also announced a Lightning SD card reader and USB adapters. A 32-gigabyte 10-inch iPad Pro will cost $599, 128 gigabytes $749, and 256 gigabytes at $899. A new 12.9-inch iPad Pro with 256 gigabytes will cost $1,099. Whew. The new iPhone and new iPads are available to pre-order March 24th, shipping March 31st.
So there you go. There was also a lot of talk about environmental responsibility and reusing device parts. They showed off a robot named Liam that can tear apart iPhones and help recycle the parts. There was a little bit of an acknowledgement of the Apple encryption fight tomorrow. Veronica, what did you think of this whole announcement? It felt to me like it was the first time that an Apple announcement really was something that could have just been summarized in a press release.
It was very boring. It was very boring. I mean, it was very boring, which is fine because most announcements are. Most tech announcements these days kind of are. So I was excited to see the iPhone SE. I think that would be a model I would go for. Although I don't like losing features that have been in existence for quite some time in the most recent phones. So I'm not stoked on that too much, that there's no taptic feedback and whatnot. But otherwise, yeah, it was all stuff that especially with the Apple TV stuff, I felt like they spent the first 10 minutes just talking about things the Apple TV has already done for like a year and a half. And so at that point, I was like, okay, weird.
And this is not to say anything they announced was bad. Everything they announced was perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine.
In fact, I'm actually looking forward to this update to my Apple TV OS, but I could have read a blog post about it and been just as excited as having to listen to them talk about it for 10 minutes. Dave, I know you've followed Apple throughout the year.
Sure.
What was your impression of this?
Well, I don't do impressions. My training's in psychology. Thank you.
And humor.
Yeah, well, if we can call that humor. But to me, for the most part, you're right. These things can be, done in basically press releases. I'm a little more. I get more tired of people that try to be above it all and sit there and just trash everything. There's actually some decent stuff there.
Whoa! Wait a second. Are you saying that we think we are above it all? And
No, I don't. I'm not talking about you guys.
Yes, that is true.
But what I'm saying is that a lot of people just rag on everything, basically. And I'm one of those people, I should say. The other thing is that when I see the prices, my concern being a Canadian is that, I don't even know what the prices are in Canada. I just got to usually add about 25% because our dollar's worth 77 cents of your dollars. Our petrodollars. So, I mean, that's a real concern for Canadians. I mean, I look at some of these things. The Apple TV, for example, I've got a couple of third-gen Apple TVs, and I'd like to update one, but, it's a little bit of money. And then you've also got the features, the channels. They just really aren't there in Canada. We're easily 2-3 years behind you guys in streaming. So I'll wait and see what's out there. I'll probably wait for somebody I know to buy some stuff and then check it out.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking about upgrading. I have a third-gen iPad 10-inch that I use pretty much exclusively as a prompter these days.
Mhm.
And I was thinking of updating it because it is a little slow. It takes a while to boot up. And I'm worried that, as the OS continues to update, that it's going to lose the ability to connect by Bluetooth, or get buggy. And I've seen a little bit of that happen. But looking at this announcement today, I'm like, I don't want to spend $600, even $400 for an iPad Air 2 to upgrade this thing when it still works. I'll wait till it finally dies, and then I'll just get whatever. There was nothing compelling about, I have an excuse to upgrade because I'll get this amazing new feature.
Yeah, my son has a iPad and uses it at school, and he uses it and at home, and I think in his sleep. And the thing is, it is getting old. It's an iPad 2, and he really needs an upgrade, which I constantly hear him just in his room saying it can't connect, it's so slow. But I mean, it's a little bit of money to outlay for something, and then of course there's a new military grade case I have to get him because he treats it like something like a frisbee. So
yeah. Well, and to be fair, I have an iPad Pro 12-inch that I use on the show, and I use for watching video, and I use when I travel, and I love it. So I'm not down on Apple. I just think that these announcements were the kinds of things that you would not normally have seen Apple do as a press conference in the past.
You could put them on the Apple Store webpage, and everybody'd be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agree.
Researchers from Johns Hopkins discovered a vulnerability in iMessage, which allowed it to guess encryption keys and intercept photos and videos without the user's knowledge. Full details were not released yet, but they did tell Apple about it, and Apple has a fix in the work. So the attack involved mimicking an Apple server and guessing bits of the 64-bit key one at a time to see if they were accepted. And so the way it worked, they could tell, okay, those bits worked, we've got this much of the key, and eventually they could brute force it. Apple told the Washington Post that it has partially fixed the problem last autumn and will fully patch the vulnerability in iOS 9.3, which of course is coming out today.
Nice little bit of white hatting there. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to find it, fix it, tell the company, have the company be fast enough to fix it, and tell us all about it once the fix is in.
Indeed.
Wait, is that how you put that?
GoDaddy introduced cloud server and cloud applications marketed to small businesses. Pay-as-you-go pricing starts at $5 a month for 20 gigabytes and a terabyte of transfer, up to $80 a month for 80 gigabytes and 8 terabytes of transfers. Cloud servers are integrated with GoDaddy's domains and DNS services, available in 26 languages in 44 countries/territories and 53 markets.
Wise move for GoDaddy. They still have a very large share of the domain name small business web hosting market, and so to move into that lower end of the cloud market seems logical. Everybody's wanting to move into cloud services. Everybody's wanting cloud services, and a small business that is familiar with GoDaddy is more likely to buy it from GoDaddy than they are to jump all the way to Amazon Web Services, which is probably more sophisticated than what they need.
Excuse me, I had very loud Twitter notification there pop up. I apologize.
All right, it was probably GoDaddy asking if you wanted to buy one of their cloud web services.
Jeez. The notifications off thing doesn't always quite work as intended.
I had this thing, and Matt Honan had this thing this weekend where the Twitter app just stopped working for us on iOS. And I could use Twitterific, I could use Tweetbot just fine. It was weird. Amazon has launched the Amazon Cable Store, where you can browse bundles of TV, phone, and internet service from cable companies, complete a credit check, and schedule installation. So far, they have one company available to shop from, Comcast.
Comcast.
I know. Settle down. It does make this a lot nicer than ordering it directly from Comcast, even Comcast website, because it has the typical Amazon, like, you have these bundles available, you can highlight them to see the different features, and it looks like they're setting it up to be a place where they can offer more than just one company's services. What I'm wondering is, what does this mean for the rumors that Amazon wants to put out their own linear TV service?
Well, call me when they have drones coming to my house to install the cable, and I don't have to actually deal with a human being.
That's probably the greatest image I've ever had in my head right there.
Yeah. Well, call me, and actually there's a couple of services like this from Comcast available in this Amazon store, but call me when I don't have to install anything. Yeah. I just order the service and I use it on the internet.
Yep.
So the next story is about the Kindle.
Oh, wait, is it me? Oh,
yeah,
it's me. Damn it. Owners of most Amazon Kindle devices need to update before March 22nd or risk losing internet connectivity. If your Kindle updated already, you should see a confirmation letter called 03-2016 Successful Update. If you miss the automatic update, you can still manually download and install it. And thanks to Captain Kipper for submitting this on the subreddit. And I saw this story and went to what? I was just silently fuming over here. That's why I didn't know it was my story next. Yeah, I can't get mine to force update, so I'm working on it. You've got a bricked Kindle already.
I mean, to be fair, this one hasn't been charged in years. But even when I plug it in, it doesn't get off this main
John
screen.
Steinbeck.
There's a first-gen Kindle, so what are you going to do?
Who was that a picture of? Was it Steinbeck?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's Steinbeck.
Either that or Leon Trotsky. I can't really tell.
They were like separated at birth, too. Yeah. So anyway, if you're a Kindle fan, I mean, you won't be screwed if you don't get this. You'll just have to jump through a lot of hoops by downloading something on your computer and then connecting by USB. So try to get it to happen before tomorrow.
The way I read it, it was like, we're just going to brick your whole Kindle if you don't do this update. Sorry, it's not that.
I think that's what they want people to believe, so that they don't wait because they don't want to have to take those support calls.
Yeah.
The U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear an appeal by Samsung to its 2011 patent case with Apple. Samsung believes that $399 million of the $548 million penalty it has already paid back in December was excessive. Samsung believes that its infringement of Apple's rounded corner front-face bezel and grid of icons contributed only marginally to the device. Apple won the case in May in the Federal Circuit in Washington, thanks to 313C7 for submitting this on the subreddit. An interesting appeal. They're not appealing the infringement, they're appealing the penalty, and the Supreme Court has agreed to listen to this and say, okay, in the modern world, is it the internals and the functions that distinguish it, or is it the look? Because Apple won on the look, but what Samsung's arguing is like, yeah, back in the 1800s when all you had were rugs and the only distinguishing factor was what the rug looked like, that made sense, but these days it's different.
Mm-hmm. So where do you fall on this?
I think that Samsung has a good point, and in fact, they're getting friends of the court briefs from everybody, Google, HP, the whole ball of wax, because everybody's like, look, there's only a few form factors these days. You shouldn't be able to patent very obvious looks. It should be about the actual functions. It should be the way the device works. I kind of believe that that's true. I do think there is room for design patent.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it needs to be very specific, like, oh, no one else has come up with the design, not we decided to make rounded corners first, so we get a patent. Like, it's
evolution, right? It's like gadget evolution, like things just start kind of looking the same. Italian studio Digital Video has agreed to let Japanese media company Dwango produce and release a free open-source version of the Toons animation software called OpenToons. Toons turns hands-drawn art into vector graphics. It has been used to animate in films like Spirited Away and Tale of the Princess Kaguya. OpenToons will officially be presented at Anime Japan, which runs March 26th to 27th in Tokyo.
Yeah, also used in Princess Mononoke, Futurama. This is good news for folks who want to play with animation software and couldn't get their hands on a licensed version of Toons. And the company Digital Video is still going to sell premium versions and support and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of an everybody wins situation, I feel like.
I can't believe you mentioned Futurama, you said good news. You didn't say good news, everyone.
Good news, everyone.
Good Toons, everyone. It's Indeed. Open source. Reuters reports Alibaba's total transaction volume has passed 3 trillion yuan. That's about $463 billion US, and that's a 23% increase in gross merchandise volume from last year, but a smaller increase than the 46% increase it had the previous year. So growth slowing. That can concern some investors. Alibaba Executive Vice Chairman Zhou Tsai said that the GMV, that gross merchandise volume, is less important as a measure of success these days, and that it reflected China's shift from investment and export-led growth to domestic consumption and services. So it's less about selling to the rest of the world and more about selling to themselves now. Interesting.
The UK's Natural Environment Research Council thought a few enthusiasts would appreciate its call for names of a new polar research vessel. They'd probably get a few names of explorers that hadn't already been used to name a boat. Instead, a BBC Radio Jersey DJ suggested naming the boat Boaty McBoatface, which has received around 30,000 votes to take the lead. The NERC is keeping a good sense of humor about it, though it is not bound to name the boat after the winner of the poll, so it probably won't. That poll ends April 16th. I love this story. There's many other good names in the running, but Boaty McBoatface, I think they should not shut it out.
Yeah, don't come to a too hasty of a decision, NERC. I mean, Bodie McBoatface is a pretty good name.
Yeah, I kind of like Pillar of Autumn, though, is also on there, and I kind of like that.
And like Endeavor, and like
Yeah.
a bunch of other cool boat-sounding names. But
James Hand is the DJ, and he just made mention of it in his show, and it kind of took a life of its own because internet. So he apologized on Twitter to the NERC, and Julia Maddock from NERC said, "No need to be sorry, James. We're loving it." So they're enjoying it. At the same time, they're not committing to going with whatever wins the poll. It looks like the RRS Henry Worsley is probably the most likely one to win the poll and then be used. Henry Worsley died trying to make the first unassisted solo crossing of the Antarctic.
you mean not the RRS, not the Titanic, which was another one that was submitted?
Yeah, I don't think I do think Bodie McBoatface is worth considering.
That's something I say. I say something McSomething face a
I know.
lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is, if
You were the first person I thought of when I read this story.
if anything ends up getting published from this research vessel, which it will, they would actually have like in a Nature or a Science article that they were on the Bodie McBoatface, which to me is more exciting than anything.
See? I mean, if
But
we
then
can
I start
have
thinking, like, if something goes horribly wrong to like one of his inaugural missions, and like all the news stories have to be like, 12 researchers died today when Bodie McBoatface crashed into an iceberg, and you're gonna be like, oh man, we
point.
really
Good
forgot about
point.
that now. This is not
That's true.
quite the same.
Although, I mean,
Levity?
if we could have a protein named Sonic Hedgehog, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We could have a research vessel named Bodie McBoatface.
Okay.
And today is a great day in history. 10 years ago today, Jack Dorsey sent the first Twitter post, which read, "Just setting up my tutor," TWTTR, because they didn't use vowels back then because they were poor. They hadn't got any funding yet. They couldn't afford them. Twitter was the original spelling of the site. It was just used internally. They all worked at Odeo.com. Remember that old podcasting aggregator?
Yes, I was obsessed with Odeo. I loved Odeo.
Yeah.
I worked
it was
in their
great.
offices. So now this is a little bit of Twitter history. It's more Veronica history than Twitter history. After I left CNET, I didn't have an office to work out of while I was working on Mahalo Daily, and so the Twitter guys let me rent a desk from their office, and there was only like 15 people there at the time. And so I sat up in a little loft and looked down, on all the comings and goings. I had to sign an NDA, but I don't even remember anything that happened at the time, just like chit-chatting. But it was fun to be there in the early days, and I was a big fan as well, so it worked out.
I actually liked Odeo. I missed it.
Yeah, me too.
I liked Odeo a lot. SoundCloud is kind of like the spiritual successor of Odeo in many ways.
Thanks to everybody who submitted stories to us at the subreddit dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. It definitely helps us fill out the show every day. And thanks to everybody who submits. And thanks to our moderators who do a good job keeping things running clean and smooth. And get in there and vote, folks. dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. That is a look at the headlines. So, Veronica, you found this article. It was on the Kotaku Talk Amongst Yourselves blog, the TAY blog, written by someone calling themselves Geostar, basically saying, like, look, we're all watching things. Twitch is wanting you to watch cooking now and creative stuff, but we're all watching video games. That's what made Twitch popular. YouTube gaming is huge. PewDiePie is the biggest star on YouTube because he plays video games. Why is it that people watch other people play video games? Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought this was fascinating because this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's become such a huge phenomena of watching gamers play games, and the biggest question everyone always asks is, well, why wouldn't I just play a game? Well, the fact of the matter is that apparently your brain is reacting to watching a video game almost as much as when you're actually playing the game. And there's also the added benefit of empathy. The author, Geostar, I guess, I'm sure he has a real name somewhere, says that another important part of how the brain processes YouTube videos is empathy, or the ability to understand another person's emotions or thoughts. You identify with the way a gamer plays on YouTube, which I think, especially when they have to play bad video games, and they point out its flaws, we're able to identify it just as well as playing the game and discovering the problem ourselves. So, but is it a valid comparison, or is it just what do you think, Dave, the psychologist?
Well, I mean, the article that you found talks a lot about mirror neurons, and mirror neurons are these neurons that are in the parietal lobe, premotor cortex, places like that, which is basically up here. It's sort of the top of your head, and mirror neurons fire when you not only when you do something, but also when you watch someone else do something. And so the same neurons will fire if you were to go pick up a cup of coffee as to when I pick up a cup of coffee. Now, these mirror neurons have been implicated in a lot of things, like theory of mind, so the idea that how we understand how other people think. Basically human, call it mind reading almost. So I can make a pretty good guess about what you're thinking about right now by looking at your face, okay? And that's where the empathy thing comes in. I think there's something to be said for this. I think there's also something to be said for just the idea of just plain old learning, right? So the idea that we just do observational learning, and humans do observational learning better than anything that's been tested. It's very hard to determine if there's any observational learning in another animal. There's been some stuff with crows, some stuff with some primates. But these mirror neurons really only show up in primates, though there is some suggestion they're in birds. So, I mean, I think that the author... Oh, is it? Yes.
Yeah, so when we do this mirror learning stuff, I mean, I understand the idea of watching something in order to learn something from it, but are we actually getting that same sense of enjoyment in our brain as well?
Well, I mean, one can just, as much as I don't like anecdotes very much, one can certainly look at, is it as much fun to play, I don't know, Destiny? I was playing Destiny before, and it wasn't fun. It was making me angry. It is as much fun to play a game as it is to actually watch someone play. Well, it's hard to say. It's certainly a different emotional experience you have, but if you're watching someone play a game, it certainly affects you. It certainly makes you... Well, I've watched walkthroughs, for example, of, say, Destiny, and I get, nervous for what's going to happen next, and it's like, it's not just, oh, I see, I take out that gun. It's also like, sometimes you duck when something's coming at you. And I mean, these can be very powerful effects. There's an amazing thing called the rubber hand illusion, where you take a rubber hand and you put it on a table, and then you hide the subject's hand, and you stroke the rubber hand, this you being the experimenter, with a paintbrush, and you stroke the person's hand, the subject's hand, at the same rate as the rubber hand for about 10 minutes, and then you touch the rubber hand and the person feels it on their own hand. A student at our university, Camille McLeod, just did a really cool study where she got the rubber hand illusion to work, and then she poked it, and the people felt pain. Yes, I mean, the rubber hand, the mirror neuron thing's a real thing. And I mean, in the background, you might hear somebody running around making funny noises. That's my son John, and John has autism. And one of the things about mirror neuron, there's a whole mirror neuron hypothesis about autism. That said, he certainly loves watching people play video games and watching walkthroughs as well. So, I mean, I think part of it too is, we can sit here and look for explanations in neuroscience, which I'm very supportive of, but it's also, sometimes things are just entertaining, right? I mean, I like watching Top Chef. Now, I like to cook. I can't cook as well as any of those guys, but I just like watching them. Why do people watch Bob Ross paint? Because he's just some guy painting that has crazy hair and looks vaguely like my grade 8 science teacher.
Well, isn't there something to the idea of if you're experiencing a little bit of the mirror system and you're watching somebody who's much better at something than you, you get to feel like you're a little better at it.
There's probably something to that. It's not it's not phenomenologically the same experience, but you do get that feeling of when you watch someone do just even sports highlights. When you watch someone do something and how in the heck does Carey Price make a save like that? He's hurt, and I feel bad, and the Canadians suck this year. But you think of like first-person shooter games versus third-person shooter games. It's an entirely different experience. So, I mean, there's something to be said there, too, for the immersive quality of something. And, we trick our brains into stuff back in the early, the era of evolutionary adaptation, back when we lived all in the savannah of Africa, there weren't any first-person shooter games, so our brains aren't really hooked up for that. Yeah, life was basically oh my God, here comes a saber-toothed tiger. Run. It's an entirely. We can trick our brains, I think, into experiencing things because nature isn't hooked up that way, and that's part of the fun of watching people play, and part of the fun of play, right? Of these kind of games.
Yeah, I feel like you hit on something there when you brought up sports, because there is something we all love watching movies and TV shows. Well, most of us. And that's because we, like you say, we just enjoy the story. And maybe there's a little bit of being able to put yourself in the place of the person in the movie as well. I think there's something to that. And then there's sports where you get to see people do amazing things that you are not possibly capable of in most cases. And video games combine those two. You get that entertaining story element combined with watching someone do something, and especially in these popular channels like Yogscast and these popular Twitch streamers, the professional esports players, playing a video game at a level that you probably can't play it and getting to feel that experience in a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, I've watched, for example, people play Halo online, like esports kind of things, and I've played quite a bit of Halo online, and I'm not very good, and there's a couple of reasons for that. I'm a 50-year-old man. Here's another reason: I'm legally blind. So to put those two together, those are also called excuses, by the way. Those are technical psychological terms. But when I watch somebody do something, I do get a thrill out of watching somebody, quick scope with the DMR, bang, 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 and it blows me away. I actually literally just got a little shiver thinking about it. So I mean, there is something to be said for that. It's especially the first-person view, I think, almost more than anything. And the fact that when you're watching someone play, you're almost getting a first-person view. Well, you are, of them playing. So it kind of feels like you're there. Unlike watching a hockey game from above and being amazed that Wayne Gretzky was able to shoot a puck and have it turn in midair and go between the goalie's arm and the goalpost, if you could actually get a hockey game where it was a first-person hockey game, or when you see like GoPro footage of PK Subban skating around last year that they had, it's incredibly, like you watch it over and over again. It's like, how does he do that? That's incredible. So I mean, it's something, like I said, we trick our brains into it because we didn't evolve in a place where this kind of stuff existed, because it's only existed for the last few years.
I love it. I think it's so fascinating how our brains work with that, especially with things that you think, I could probably do that, but you're never going to be operating at that same level. So you're learning and enjoying at the same time.
That's right.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to our pick of the day. Yaru writes that he thinks he mentioned this before in a comment email, but a good resource to learn about the effect of AI and its unpack on jobs is Rise of the Robots by Martin Ford, available at places like iBooks, other places of real book and ebook stores. It's personally the one resource, Yaru says, that has given me the most thought about the subject, and quite frankly, it personally made me do a U-turn on my opinion of the topic. We've been talking a lot about AI and its impact on people and what it could possibly do. A lot of different opinions, but there's one to add to the pile. Rise of the Robots by Martin Ford.
Also available on Audible, which is fascinating.
Read to you by an AI?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know why.
One hopes.
Actually, no. I was going to say it's fascinating because it's the cheapest option.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah.
Which is not normally the case.
Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find more picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Two emails before we get out of here. For Tom and Justin, so we'll pass this along to Justin Robert Young. He's like, not exactly bot-to-bot communications, but a bot that helps facilitate meetings. I've been moderately impressed with its ability to respond to tentative requests and schedules, parsing regular expressions accurately at x.ai.
I think he did mean me.
Justin and I were talking about this on Thursday, but it's perfectly appropriate to conversations Veronica and I have had as well.
You're allowed to have conversations about bots with other guests.
Well, yeah, did I not clear that with you?
You didn't clear that with me.
I cleared it with your bot.
Did you?
Your bot not tell you?
Oh crap! Well, I gotta give that bot a talking to.
Yeah, first of all, x.ai, amazing domain name, and then sign up for some beta access and see if it works. Thanks for emailing us about it. Joe the pilot was writing that back in the 90s there was a push to automate functions in the cockpit, taking place of things that navigators and flight engineers did. They were replaced by complex and accurate flight management systems, EEC and FADEX, that's full authority digital engine controls. Anyhow, that direction changed when manufacturers realized there were ways to bring the pilot into the loop and let him or her see what the computer sees. If you can't see the runway through the fog at 50 feet and 135 knots, give him an IR camera, infrared camera. Let's not replace the pilot. Let's give him a heads-up display with the camera view. Now we don't need the Cat 3C landing systems anymore or the huge cost of keeping them current. We just save money. He said every airline has gone this way, but Southwest did it, and he says not every airline has gone this way, but Southwest did it and proved the ability. Synthetic vision should become bigger parts of the cockpit in the future. And then he says, I don't know. The computers ain't so bad. That's all I'm saying. Gear up, LNAV, VNAV, autopilot on. I may have just turned on your plane. I apologize. But yeah, I mean, here's a pilot that's saying like, yeah, just augment me. Augment the reality, but let the pilot still be in charge of the plane.
Yeah.
And then
we
Carlos,
had a conversation about that, didn't we? Sorry.
Yeah, no, we did. We were talking about where that line is and how involved we still need to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos writes, I can tell you as an owner of the cheap Kindle that was a gift in December, while it's a great little tablet for the price, it's painfully slow. Just a few days ago, I got a notice that my Kindle had been updated. I was hoping that in getting rid of encryption would speed this little guy up. Now, I did not read the changelog for the update, but I can say that my Kindle is much faster. Not as fast as my iPhone 6S, but enough so that I find myself using it more. My guess is I received that update that removed the on-the-fly encryption that they said they're bringing back. So Carlos is like, all right, I know they shouldn't have got rid of the encryption without telling people or giving them a chance to put it back, but Carlos may not want it back.
I think it's faster now. Works great.
Yeah, great. Excellent.
And that is one of the biggest reasons we don't just encrypt all the things already, is because engineers and developers realize, well, it gives you a hit to performance.
Yep.
And so until that hardware and software catches up to the point where you don't notice when encryption is on, which is now the case in some instances, we weren't going to have people willing to just turn it on all the time. Sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dave Brodbeck, for joining us and giving us an excellent explanation of that. That was fantastic. If people want to find out more about what you do, where you are, what podcast you do, where should they go?
If I'm on Twitter, you can find me at dbrodbeck. You can find other podcasts I do at broken-area.com, davebrodbeck.com, bestepisodeever.com, mmvh.ca, and my most recent one is where I interview people that study animal cognition, and that's at spitandtwitches.com.
Spit and Twitches?
Yeah, it's from a paper that says learning, associative learning is more than just spit and twitches. It's a reference to Pavlov, of course.
So it's SPITNTW?
And, like...
and spelled out. Okay, SPITAND.
Yeah, .com.
Excellent. And Brodbeck, of course, spelled BRODBECK.
That's right.
Thank you, Veronica Belmont. What do you got going on?
I don't know, but if you want your Dear Veronica questions answered, you better get them in fast. I'm just going to say that.
All right.
If you got some pressing questions, I want to answer them for you.
Because I did last week. I was on.
Yes.
And
Roger's on this week.
Yeah. Got to check that out, folks. And, of course, if you didn't know, Veronica, I have put a book up on inkshares.com that I'm hoping to get people to back and maybe get into the Sword and Laser collection.
Ooh, that's exciting. That could be. We can make that possible.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to the Sword and Laser folks. If you could put me in touch.
Okay, I can intro you.
They've got a bot, right? You could talk to.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely have a bot. Yeah.
Thanks to everybody for supporting Daily Tech News Show. DailyTechNewsShow.com/support is the place to go. You all are the best audience in the world. We had our quarterly analyst hangout this weekend. We talked a lot about the future for the show. If you're like, wait a minute, I didn't hear about that. Well, if you support the show at the $5 a month level or more, you get the heads up on those things. But it's still there in our YouTube channel for everybody to go look at now. And one of the things I talked about was coming up with just extra content as we go along. As you guys support us more, we are able to do more. So if you are a supporter at that $5 a month level right now, you can look in the treasure chest link, which was sent out earlier in the month, and there is an MP3 about explaining PGP, explaining public key encryption, that I just threw together on Saturday. And it's an attempt to kind of show you the kind of explainer sort of episode that I would like to do. So check that out in the treasure chest. And if you want to know, well, wait a minute, how do I get to that level, go to patreon.com/DTNS. Big thanks to everybody who came out to our meetup in LA at the Farmers Market. It was fantastic. We saw so many great people. We'll definitely be doing another one again before 2 years are up, and hopefully in other areas as well. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 593-2459. Catch the show live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Patrick Beja. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Whew, awesome.
Good show.
That was fun.
Thanks, man. Glad you liked it.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Oh, good.
What's on the show bot? Speaking of bots.
All right.
We got
What do
bots.
we got, bot?
Let's see. Show bot.
Very boring.
Very boring. I kind of like that.
To the third power.
Daily McTech News show face.
Daily McTech News show face. That's good.
Kind of like
Bodie McBoatface gonna give it to you.
To the tune of Uptown Funk, I assume.
Yeah. Oh, I went to DMX.
Oh,
That's
okay.
weird that you went to Bruno Mars and I went to DMX.
Yeah, that works too.
Because I'm hardcore.
Non-Apple News starts at 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty funny too.
Talk to the boat face. Bodie McBoatface. McBoatface. A lot of vote and McBoat.
Vote and face. Vote and McBoatface.
Flux
What?
got flexed.
Bodie McBoatface verboten.
See, I was just going to say that. I honestly was just going to say that.
Minds, Dave.
Yes, indeed.
This is your brain watching video games. Daily Apple News Show. Tales from the Encrypt. Wait, didn't we use that?
Tales from the Encrypt or Daily Apple News Show. I think we've used both of those, actually.
I think so, yeah, I think so too.
Well, Daily McTech News Show face is leading at 6.
Oh, man. Non-Apple News starts at 10 minutes. My favorite, though.
That was the top one a second ago. Oh,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Daily
Oh,
McTech News Show face just surged in front.
It's a little problem with crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
I'm still levelating, so we can let it cook for a minute.
I got a very nice comment from someone today saying, where is it? Okay, so Veronica, you are amazing for saying something about Levelator because this has saved me hours of work.
Oh, fantastic. I'm glad that he went back in and updated it, too.
Yes.
So pleased.
Upset. So relieved.
Yeah.
So relieved.
Beatmaster.
X gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you.
Because Bodie McBoatface gonna give it to you.
Gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you.
Oh, dear.
Saturday night, and I asked my bot.
So tired. Why am I so tired today?
Because you were out in the heat all weekend.
I slept like a log last night. It was amazing.
Oh, by the way, next week remind me to assign emails to both of us. I realized as I was reading the last one that I forgot to alternate.
There's only a couple this week. So we have Matt for next Monday.
Yeah, Hartman.
Hartman, can we put the guests on the calendar?
It is.
Oh, I don't. It does. Oh no.
That's not. It's on my calendar.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now it is. Weird. I was looking at the wrong day.
Oh,
Cool.
I see.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you.
So user.
It was PebCac. It was PebCac. It's PebCac.
I got to go check on dinner.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you're later out there.
Wait, where do you live? Oh, sorry, I didn't know that.
Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
Oh, so you're 3 hours.
Yeah, right where Lake Superior meets the other lakes.
I know it just
Who's
by
other one?
people talking about
Superior, it said, never gives up its dead.
No, but we actually have a great big in our library. There's a big model of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
Your kids come in and try to sink it.
Actually, we hear lake freighters here going by, and because I'm right by the river. I literally can see the U.S. from my backyard. I can see Michigan.
You should run the country.
Even with my vision. But
That's how close you are.
Exactly. Yeah, so you hear lake freighters and stuff like that. So yeah, it's something. It's a place to live.
Cool, man.
Gee,
well, hey,
don't sell it.
He doesn't want people to move there and ruin it.
That's
I
right.
know. We're all planning on that. So
No, you're all welcome. And I'll let you know, Tom. We're going to have that meetup in Hamilton, if you can, which is of course near Toronto. So in July at some point.
All right. Yeah, let me know. Maybe I can make Eileen go visit the Toronto YouTube space or something.
That's what I'm thinking. As soon as
Who knows?
As soon as Bob and mostly Bob. As soon as Bob can figure out when he gets time off from IBM.
Yeah. I'd love to see you guys. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be great. All right, folks. Thanks a lot, eh?
All right.
Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thanks, guys. Later.
Bye.
yeah. I'm gonna order the Kindle version of this robot book.
He's so
Nice. You know, I started using Alexa to read my Kindle books. There are more books than I thought that allow the text-to-speech.
Mm-hmm.
So I had it reading my Andrew Main Station Breaker over the weekend.
Oh,
I
neat.
just said, Alexa, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. I said, hey, you, read,
Hey, you, maybe.
read Station Breaker by Andrew Main, and it's like, reading Station Breaker, and it picked up right where I was on my Kindle, like, whisper synced and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
That's cool.
So wait, does it pick up where the last page and picks up the last page you're on?
Yeah, so I was like halfway through the page, so it started reading part that I had already read, but it picked up at the top of the page that I had been on.
Okay.
And it was it's robot voice, so it's not perfect, but I was cooking and able to listen a little bit. I think that's why publishers are starting to ease up on it. It's like, no, if I can get an audiobook, I'm still going to get an audiobook or something. It's
Right.
It's still much better to have a human perform the read.
Yeah.
But as a stopgap, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, totally. Oh, the shelf is so pretty. I'm so tired. Man.
It's that's because you give your all for Daily Tech News Show, and I
Look
appreciate
at
it.
all. I'm just spent. I'm just like wrung out. It's like dead. All right.
Did you pre-order my book yet?
No, I can't add it to Inkshares though. I think I can add it to our collection.
Okay.
I think I have that power.
I mean, that'd be cool too.
No, I don't think you do, Tom.
I don't do what?
Have the power.
Oh no, I don't. I do not have that power.
X gonna give it to you.
But if you're wondering where it is, it's called Pilot X.
I found it.
Shares.com. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you found it. I'll put a link in the show notes though, just in case.
Okay.
Not in the show notes, in the chat room. I mean, inkshares.com/book/pilot-x.
I thought I could. Do I have to be in?
These little birds in the background on the Inkshares page keep making me think I got smudges on my screen.
Oh, little watermarky things.
Yeah, it's a watermark, so it doesn't move when I scroll, which is the signal to my brain, like there's a smudge on your page.
You know what the worst one is when like people put that snow effect for winter on their webpage when you're like reading. It's like in the background, and I used to think it was my screen going out. It's like, oh man, I have to buy another monitor.
Every winter, I have to buy a new monitor.
Well, it was like around Christmas. It's like, oh, I guess it's a good time to shop for sales. But I was like, wait a minute.
Oh,
It's only
man.
on this page.
Monitor sellers should just like try to get as many sites to do that as possible.
Weird. I guess I can't just add things to a collection. Weird.
Oh, really? You need some kind of
I need to like
authority
help.
to approve you? I already heard from Adam about it.
That's annoying.
No, that was very nice of him.
No, what? What? That was what?
I said I already heard from Adam about it.
Oh, that is nice. Tell him you want to add it to the collection.
Yeah, I will. It was because I said I heard from Adam about it. You're like, that's annoying. I was like, no, it's actually very helpful.
That's not what I meant. Not what I meant. All right. What's a super reader?
It's like a super taster.
Oh.
They read deeply.
$60. Wow. Wow.
It's not worth trying to get this Kindle to restart just to update it, is it?
I don't know. What's the I mean, do you have another Kindle?
It's a museum piece. I use my phone or my tablet.
Oh, that's lame.
There's nothing lame about that.
It's lame.
Works great. Love it. Always have it with me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a Kindle first gen. That is not. I'm not going to use it.
Don't use it then. Murder it.
It belongs in a museum.
All right, I gotta go.
All right, I'm up finishing the upload.
Oh, so did you get everything I sent, Veronica?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, making sure it all worked out.
Perfect.
All right, go rest.
Okay, I'll see you guys later.
Have a nice afternoon.
Bye.
Almost done here. Do you pay the performance royalty for that, Roger?
Is it really a performance, or is it a kind of corruption of the original?
You're going to try to claim parody fair use?
I want to claim that I'm so bad at it, no one could mistake it for a performance.
Tell me what I was performing, and I'll pay the royalty. All right. Oh, there's no Wi-Fi TVs he got. I don't think that thing had Wi-Fi. The original Kindle? Maybe I'm wrong. It's been so long since I used it.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah. All right. Let me make sure I didn't mess up this post. And I think we're good. Okay. That is it. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.